Ozzy Osbourne blocked my content right here. I was listening to Blizzard of Oz. It was a song. It went no more bloody, no more bloody, no more. If you know the name of that, or you know the lyrics of that song, let me know. Ozzy blocked it, and I had to repost the content. That's why I was a little late. All right.
Two-way stop. There's this thing right here. $14.68.
They went missing all. They went missing all around the world. One donut, you can't even get that for the price of pretty much like one donut. Yeah, I guess you could go give it to somebody or something. Yeah, really. There's actually landscape or portrait. That's landscape. Portraits like that. It's landscape. So I got all this for $3.27. Basically, Diet Zero Coke, whatever they call it, Zero Coke. And then this thing right here, a couple donuts. Probably gonna talk a little bit about. Well, I had to do some dishwashing cleaning, like dishwashing machine cleaning, which is like I mentioned that Droopy's breath smelled like the air gape on a dishwasher that doesn't drain properly. I did that for a reason, but how to do that while things are, I'm in the process of getting everything up right now. So it took me some time. They're like angels, boss. They're like angels. And who was an angel? There's a lot of different characters that were angels. Some of the angels were in charge of the military aspects in heaven. There was a certain angel that was in charge of the military aspects of heaven, and he fell with his dimension. Well, he fell with what do they call? They call it dominion. Yeah, but they pretty much have the early dimension because of all the freaking sugar, probably. The dominion. They fell with their dominion. And why do they fail with their dominion? And what is it that they want? What does Michael want? That's his name, the angel, Michael. What does he want besides the foolishness of man to arise, which is the human side of man, to have an error? You know, you have error. Have you ever heard that? You know, Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King Jr., but Martin Luther, the one that was the monk, the one that reprinted the Bible over and over again, and also that faced the Sanhedrin. He was a Augustan monk. What did he want? Remember, they wanted him to remove the error. They call it an error, as an error. That was an error. That was something he said. That was basically something that he wrote and put on the wall of the church. Or he put it on the door, right? Well, he could have put it on a wall too, but he put it on the door of the church. That was like Facebook. And what did he put on there, right? And they wanted him to retract it. He put on that they were fake, right? That the Pope was fake, that the other members of the church were fake, and they were hurting people. And what were they saying? They were saying, well, wine is just wine. Blood is just, you know, we know wine is wine and blood is blood, right? The wine is simply just wine. That's not how they were really supposed to think. They were supposed to feel that the wine was really blood. They saw it as really blood, right? And the Sanhedrin wanted to question him, saying, hey, you have to say that we're not fake. Well, I say you're fake. That mistake is supposed to be there. But if you say any type of negativity, it gives them power. So if you were to walk up to someone, let's say that was carrying a gun, and I know I'm writing a story called The Shepherds of Alaska, and I know the characters in it have sniper rifles and SR-25s and drones, and I don't really talk a lot about sidearms, but basically, you know, that if you were to walk up to them and say, well, how blessed you are, that would be very odd, wouldn't it? You're such a blessing to others, you know? But if you try to be one little bit, I guess, sarcastic, you know, then your sarcasm will weaken you and strengthen them. You can't have any type of negativity. You know, action speaks louder than words, but you can't really have negativity in any sort of, like I said a long time ago in the vlog, I don't think anyone would follow all 14,000 vlogs, but a long time ago, I said a few years back, I said, the words they use against you is how they really get to the point where they kill you. They have to use words first. There's not many of them that are mimes. A mime has to stay on the ground, they can't jump, and they can't make a sound. It's the art of silence, right? But how many times are words used in a way? Those words are rehearsed by these vain actors, you could say, right? Now, we know that there's something that just recently happened just now that in New York, and this person, you know, this there's like a hit, you know, we saw this, they show it on television and stuff like that, you know. I mean, at least it appears to be that there was in New York City. But listen, I saw a hit that went down where it took down 3,000 people, you know, and it took a while to figure out exactly who did all that. We still are probably doing research on it. We don't know, though. You don't really know. They have, like, supposedly the facial recognition didn't match or something. But they don't have facial recognition at that point because people pose as other people. There's just a lot of weird stuff that kind of goes on. That's why I kind of want to use the death mask. And what I mean by death mask is, don't take it the wrong way. A death mask is the proper term to use when you, because as an actor, here, go to this movie, okay? It's called Somewheres. It was written and directed by Sofia Coppola. And it starts off with an actor, Stephen Dorff, and he's getting a death mask made. There's different ways to make it. And they do it because of sci-fi films and stuff. There's different ways that you can do it. You don't have to cover the entire head. In that case, they did because they probably either shaved his head and covered it completely to mold his face to use in a mask and like in a sci-fi film or in a horror film or something. That's called a death mask. I guess they call it that for different reasons. But you can take the inside of it, which is basically a negative of a person's face. This can be done. I've done it myself. My friend Brian Beck and we both made these masks because we were studying Commedia dell'arte. But you have to make the death mask first. So you basically put the putty over your face. It dries, like almost like ceramic nearly. It peels off of your face. It takes some time to do. You have to poke these little things in your nose, and you have to sit there very quietly for it to dry. Then it basically comes off, and then you fill it back up. You fill the negative back up, and it's basically a death mask that you can make a mask on top of that. So it goes through 3 processes. It goes on your face. It comes off. It's a negative. I've done very well in this because I won an award in like junior high where you did something similar, but you did it with paint, and it was like a roller that you rolled on. It was a similar negative thing. But this is basically what happens is the face is taken off, and it's hollowed like that, and then it's filled again with a different type of putty, and it hardens. Then you pull it off, and it's your exact face formation that could use for anything. You take that, and you can build upon it like a mask. You can build another mask upon it if you use the right type of putty. That mask can be taken off that, okay, the third process, and then put on a person's face to replicate another person. Mission Impossible kind of shows like really quick, you know, but they don't show the process of it. And actors go through this all the time, especially ones that deal with sci-fi or horror films where they have to have a face, their face replicated. One example of that is the movie Drive with the director Refn, or with Ryan Gosling. He wore Tom Cruise's face for whatever reason. I don't know. It was like a stuntman thing. Because he was a stuntman, and stuntmen have to wear it too. Because a friend of mine was a stuntman, Blake Staples. He was a stuntman in Hollywood. That aspect of it, I think, would have to be there because he has to not only be seen driving the cruiser. This is like a really good story. I don't see how they can pass this up. He has to be like Ray Fiennes driving around looking exactly like Leonardo DiCaprio if Leo takes the role of Shep. Or if Hooper Kaufman, his name is Cooper Hoffman. Cooper Hoffman takes the role, right? And you never retract an error, guys. There's no such thing, right? And that's what Martin Luther didn't say in front of the Sanhedrin. He said, "Here I stand," is all he said. He's like, "This is how I am," right? That's basically what he said. "Here I stand." He was saying, "This is the way I am. Sorry about it." And he also had God on his side, but you try not to retract an error. You know, like, ready, action, a cut. You know, that's bad filmmaking. Trust me, I know. You don't know those errors. You don't understand the errors. God understands the errors. You don't understand it. The person wants to see what God wants to see. That's what Mozart said. The audience almost is like a version of God in a way. You're seeing that's what the camera floats, and and moves around. That's why Scorsese is so good at moving the camera. He studied God. He studied God in seminary school to become a priest. He knows why the camera would do something like that, right? And it slowly just starts to move like it does in Goodfellas and stuff like that. Because you're seeing what God would see in a certain sense, right? So why would you retract an error? Ooh, squirrel did it or did not make it? He did make it. The squirrel made it. All right. Timmy the squirrel made it across, or maybe it was Nutty at an early stage. Another thing too, note to Brad, oh yeah, I have to go straight, is you can't do it on purpose either. Can't mess up on purpose. Why did anybody ever fart? You know, like really fart. They always like, people sometimes burp in movies. You ever really like hear a real fart? And I don't know. I'm sure it's happening in a few. I know that people pooped and stuff like that. I'm kind of like, that's kind of gross. But you know what I mean? Like, it's becoming more. We're becoming more human. The more human that we become, I think, the better. That's one thing I want about the Shepherds of Alaska is the humanity of it. I'm starting to like that aspect. I'm trying to find it in the dialogue more so. I can prove scientifically someone came in here with these ONN, and ONN stands for Onan. That's in the Bible. It's in the Old Testament. It means something. ONN. Onan. Someone came in here, took these headphones, and paired them with that device right there. Now, whether it did it on its own or I did it and didn't think about it, there's my play right there. That happened. I can prove that because these are connected to that PS3 and I didn't do it. I don't know who did it. But maybe, maybe I did and I didn't think about it. It's kind of like that Departed kind of thing.